Hi, I'm Jake Deffinbaugh, and welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, a podcast where me and my friends talk about nostalgic moments and pop culture from our childhoods. We interview people such as actors, producers, composers, puppeteers, and more. We'll be sharing our favorite memories, talk about behind-the-scenes moments, and so much more. I'm your host, Jake Deffinbaugh, and welcome to this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode. Hi everyone, welcome to the 27th episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. I'm your host, Jake Deffinbaugh, and our co-hosts we have for today, Chris Bixby, Matthew Johnson, Matt Bingel, and his pal, Marty Munster, and Wyatt and McCullough. How are you guys?
We're good.
I'm amazing.
Doing great.
We are great.
Very awesome to hear. Well, today
27 episodes here.
Yes. Very excited for this one. So this guest we have for today, he's a voice actor. He's also an actor too, and he's a comedian. And we're gonna talk about some work that he's done, like shows that we're gonna mention. And here he is, and he's Mark DeCarlo. Mark, how are you?
What up, everybody? How are you? Good to talk to you.
I just want to point this out. You just won the award for best guest entrance ever for that entrance.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know I'd be facing a jury today.
You just won the award for loudest guest intro ever.
Yeah, the best guest one yet.
That's yes.
Loud is my thing.
Right. So, first question just thought of is how you got started as being a voice actor or an actor or anything you want to do.
Well, I was always funny, I guess, in school, and my best friend in high school's older siblings, Megan Faye and Jim Faye, were both on the main stage at Second City, where I grew up in Chicago. So we would sneak down. We were, I don't know, how old are you in high school? 14, 15 years old. We'd sneak in the back way, and we get to watch that show. And once I realized that you could make a living improvising and being funny and meet girls and not have to wake up early, I was in. So then it was just a matter of figuring out a way to do it. So started doing stand-up and started acting. And then I won a bunch of money on a game show before I graduated from UCLA.
Yes.
Nice.
I didn't have to get a job right away. And I just started acting. And then we did comedy every week at the Improv and a couple other places, and I got noticed by some producers, and I got to audition for the Hugh Neutron show, and then that kind of popped it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that it started off as a movie and then it went to a TV show.
Actually, it started as a little 3-minute pilot that we shot when it was
Johnny
called,
Quasar.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Exactly.
Runaway Rocket Boy.
Right. I'm going to see. Here's the funny thing. You guys are interviewing me, but you know the answers and more to every question you're going to ask me. So it did that. Yeah. We started doing the movie, and before the movie came out, they called us back and said, hey, this is going really well. We want to do a TV series. So we were already recording episodes for the TV series before the movie came out. I think the movie came out at Christmas of 2001, and we were on the air in early 2002.
I just want to point this out. I do have the movie, but I can't show it because of stuff in my background.
Yeah, I have the complete series. Like said behind me. Yeah.
Oh, it just came out on DVD, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Did they up-res it to HD 16:9, or is it still 4:3?
It's still 4:3.
Does it look good?
Yeah, it looks really good.
All right, good.
How did Hugh come
really
about,
good.
by the way?
How did
the role come about?
Yeah, how'd the role come about?
How did you get involved in it?
Well, I got my improv group, the Frayed Knots, we had a regular gig in Long Beach, California every week, and we were doing shows at the Improv in Hollywood every week. And a producer named Paul Marshall saw us and thought we were funny, and we did a pilot with him. And then he said they were looking for a dad for this series. So he said it was this really smart kid. Yeah. So I thought it would be really funny if the kid's dad was an idiot. Was just not necessarily an idiot, but just scattered and not particularly smart seeming. So I went in, I brought my friend Megan Cavanaugh from A League of Their Own.
I know who she is.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and we auditioned together, and I think that probably helped, when you have somebody to bounce off of when you're doing the audition. So they hired us both, and the rest is cartoon history.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like the stuff you guys do at the Raw, especially Jeff Garcia, you don't know what he's coming out with, and it's freaking funny.
Neither does Jeff. Yeah, no, he's very. If you ever get a chance to see his stand-up, he's really funny.
I've actually previously messaged him. I messaged you before about this, I think. But Jeff's amazing. I hope we can get him on here in the future.
You know what? Send him an email. What's the worst he could do? Ignore you.
I'll be like Mark DeCarlo said you have to be on this podcast.
Yeah, I know.
See, Mark said I had to do it. Yeah,
and I know both you and Jeff were on the DJ Bob show, and DJ Bob's a good friend of mine. He says hi, by the way.
I love DJ Bob. Tell him I said hi.
Yeah,
and he owes me money. Where's my money, DJ Bob?
Yeah, and you guys were also in the Jimmy Timmy Power Hours as well.
Yes.
Yeah, we did a bunch of different like crossover specials and such at Nickelodeon. Yeah. Luckily, whenever there's been a Hugh, I've been lucky enough to be the voice of him.
Yeah.
Nice. So, who are some of your inspirations with acting?
With acting, let's see. I think George Carlin's probably my favorite stand-up.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
He's amazing.
And the whole Second City crew, all that training method and that style of comedy is how I was trained, and most of my friends, most of my adult comedy friends now come out of that area as opposed to like stand up. I think Ryan Reynolds is really funny.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I think Rick and Morty is the funniest show on television right now. So I think Justin Roiland deserves a boatload of awards and Emmys and accolades because he is super clever, super funny, and a really good voice actor.
He sure is.
Yes.
He is.
Yes. So, since we just talk about how, was a part of, of Jimmy Neutron, but I'm kind of wondering about this, but how you got well as being the voice of Lefty for Handy Manny?
Yes.
Oh, who?
Lefty.
Who's Lefty?
Handy Manny.
Oh, and Handy Manny. It's the way Hollywood works out here is if you want to do voiceovers, you usually come out of the world of comedy, you get an agent, and then the agent will send you auditions. And Handy Manny was something that my agent sent me. They send you a picture of what the character looks like.
Yeah.
They send you 4 or 5 lines and sometimes a short description of the show. I think I had seen Handy Manny. My wife had been on it.
Yeah.
Before me, I think.
Wow.
And they just, and then you decide what the voice should sound like. So if it's a big fat guy, he should sound fat. If he's skinny and reedy, you always try and figure out what that person would sound like. And then you have to try and figure out a unique sound that none of the other 300 people that are auditioning for it will make. And then, and then it's a matter of just, doing a funny audition. I just thought a left-handed wrench would be a little weird, right? Most of the world is right-handed. So if he's Lefty the wrench, what the writer is trying to tell you is he's not a normal wrench. And then you define not normal any way you want, I think. And then whatever the producers think is the funniest definition of not normal, they hire.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So back to Jimmy Neutron. So any fun experiences from doing the show or the movie?
Yeah.
No, it was horrible.
There you go.
Ever. Being locked in a room with jerks like Megan Cavanaugh and Debbie Derryberry.
Debbie's
Rob
amazing.
Rob Paulson sucks.
Rob Paulson's funny as crap.
He has no talent and he's very, very mean. Very mean. We laughed our asses off every day. We go in,
I bet.
and we had great writers. Jed Springarn was the head writer, and Steve Banks and Gene Grillo and a bunch of other writers. So we would do each scene as written.
Yeah.
And then right away we would go back and do a fun pass, or crazy pass, we called it.
Yeah.
And at that point, anyone could say whatever they wanted. We were all in I don't know if you've ever seen a recording studio. Most of them, it's just a big open space and a bunch of people stand by microphones and you have to be quiet while the other people are talking. Because none of us could be quiet in our group, we were all in sequestered little spaces, so that if there was some overlap of talking, it wouldn't ruin the take. So when we would do the Crazy Pass, we would start with the script and people would improvise and throw stuff in as we went through. And because that group was so hilariously talented and funny, a large portion of the stuff that we made up ended up in the final cut of the show, which is, in my experience, is rare, because, you know, a writer writes something and they want you to do it that way. And sometimes people get offended if you change their words. But to their credit, Steve Odenkirk and Paul Marshall and all the writers, they welcomed our input, and I think wisely so. I mean, find me a funnier guy than Rob Paulson, I'll give you $1 million.
Rob Paulson, especially the fact that he knew the Animaniacs still to this day, and that was old.
Animaniacs.
I know
you guys. I'm sure you guys have seen the Nations of the World, the Yakko song.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I know. He did that one take, didn't he?
One take.
Yeah.
One take. One live take.
Yeah.
One live take.
Wow.
I couldn't even read it in one take. And he sang it. He performed it. He got all the pronunciations of the countries right. Did it in time and made it funny.
Yeah,
I think.
Wow.
I mean, he's done a lot of really great stuff, but I think that one piece is it never fails to make me laugh. Never, ever.
And Jess Harnell is amazing up there as well with him.
They all are.
They all are.
And you know, Rob has told me one of the reasons he thinks that show is so successful is Steven Spielberg spent the money on the music.
Oh wow!
And
I didn't know that.
If you go back, if you go back, because most cartoons of that era, they'd have music in the show, but it wasn't specifically scored to the action. If you go back to the old Warner Brothers cartoons, Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, Carl Stalling would watch the cartoon and then doom 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 doom, would score it, right, and that it makes it funnier. And Steven Spielberg understood that and hired Randy Rogel and a bunch of other musicians to score each specific episode. And, you know, that's why they're still funny 20 years later.
Yeah. I know Matt had a question about the game show you mentioned.
That game show, for those wondering, was Save of the Century, one of my personal favorites. One of them was, what, $115,000? This was 1985, folks. That's
$2 million.
What was that experience like?
I had just was broke, like college students are. And I decided I wanted a convertible because I'd grown up in Chicago, and here in Los Angeles, it's beautiful 95% of the time. And I've always wanted a convertible. So I decided, all right, I'm going to go on a game show and I'm going to make enough money to buy a used convertible Rabbit, which was an old Volkswagen car. So I'm thinking maybe $7,000, $8,000 is what I needed. And I went on and I went down there 3 or 4 days and didn't get on the show. They like if they're going to need 10 contestants for a day, they'll have 30 there, and you sit and you watch, and then they randomly call your name and you play the next game. So I did that 3 or 4 days in a row. So by the time I went back for the day that I actually got picked to be on the show, I was bored of the process. I wasn't intimidated by the lights and the cameras, and I knew I watched how it all worked, right? So I wasn't nervous, which I think a lot of, and plus I was a performer. So a lot of people, when they go on a game show, they've never seen cameras or lights, or you get nervous. And I wasn't. And we shot 5 shows on day 1 and I won them all. We shot 5 shows on the second day. I won them all. Then we had Thursday off, and the call time for both Tuesday and Wednesday, those 10 shows, I didn't have to be there till 2:00 in the afternoon. Friday, when I had to risk all the money for the 10 shows to come back for one more show. The call time was 8 a.m. and I am not a morning person.
No.
Oh boy.
If you can imagine being 20 years old and having $70,000 in your checking account, there was some celebrating that went on after those 2 days. So I was out late Wednesday night, late Thursday night. I showed up Friday. Then I was nervous because if I had lost, I would have lost over $100,000. And I got lucky and knew the answers. And it comes down to a tiebreaker at the very end. And this obnoxious woman who had been like, stink eyeing me in the room beforehand. We all ate together in a cafeteria, and she walks up to me. This is me after winning 9 or 10 shows. She walks up to me in the cafeteria and she goes, "I'm gonna beat you."
Yeah.
I'm like, bring it on. So she screwed up at the end. She buzzed in. She gave the wrong answer because I flinched her a little bit. I got her to jump in. She gave the wrong answer and she lost 5 points and I won.
There you go.
It's on YouTube somewhere. If you look up "Sale of the Century," Mark DeCarlo, the day that it happened was March 22nd. So every March 22nd, I watch all those shows, and to this day,
you're watching
nervous. I can't watch it. It turns
1985.
It makes my stomach in a knot. It's like, oh my god, I'm going to lose this time. So after that, I won a convertible Toyota Celica. So I walked out of that with money in my pocket, a convertible, and no immediate need to go get a job in the business world. And I was able to just pursue my life as an actor. And that was, I think, in a life filled with really good days, that was probably the biggest turning point, because all my other friends who were actors had to work in a restaurant or go work and do acting. All I had to do every day was wake up and go to auditions. And I think it really made things a lot easier for me.
Yeah.
I was very
You
lucky.
also did tic-tac-toe.
That's right.
I got my ass kicked on tic-tac-toe.
Yeah. We don't want to talk about that.
That's a whole different ball game right there.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to see that. Have you seen that episode? I don't know. I'm sure maybe it's
I
out
have
there.
not.
I don't
I
think
have
so.
not. I've seen the Sale of the Century, but not tic-tac-toe. Not.
Yeah, I don't know if
Not
it's
that
out there
one.
because my brother Dan had been on tic-tac-toe and on Pressure Luck, and it had been a couple of years since I've been in Sale of the Century.
Oh wow.
And I'm figuring,
Yeah.
all right, I could use another $100,000, but lightning only strikes once.
Yeah. I mean, you want close to like $64,000 in cash alone, something like that. Yeah.
It was 70,549 in cash.
Oh wow.
Wow.
And then cars and
That's a lot.
computers and trips and jewelry and ATVs and television.
Over $115,000, and this was an '85.
Correct.
Yeah.
It
This
was.
back
And
in
then
85.
that was in 85. And then when I was doing studs in 1991 or 92, the host of Sale of the Century, Jim Perry, who was just a sweet, wonderful, super guy.
God rest his soul.
We had, he came on as a guest on Studs one opening and was really nice to come on and let me goof around with him a little bit. But while we were taping the Sale of the Century shows, I had told him in passing, I'm an aspiring comedian and blah, blah, blah. And he would always on air, set me up for jokes like he was the straight man. And he would go, "Oh, very funny, our fine young champion, aspiring actor." He really went out of his way to, I guess, promote me, celebrate me as a performer, knowing that people are going to watch the show and maybe someone will see it and hire me and whatever. I didn't get any jobs off of Sale of the Century, but I got a bunch of letters from women who wanted to marry me or do things to me.
Wow.
Which I still have somewhere. I should turn that into a one-man show.
There you go.
You should. You should.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
So in short, my advice is be on a game show and win a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
That's my advice
Great advice.
to you guys.
Amazing advice.
Absolutely. That's the
What
plan.
was your question?
You're welcome.
Yeah. So what were some of your favorite episodes to work on for Jimmy Neutron?
Oh yeah.
When Pants Attack was really funny. Probably my favorite was Cool Hugh when he gets the motorcycle and he's
yes. Okay.
He's Cool Hugh. You know what? They were all fun, and I don't remember that. We would record them and then they wouldn't be on the air until 9 or 10 months later. So I don't remember the titles of the shows compared to what we were doing. I just know that we never had a bad day. One day we were doing a Christmas episode, and Mel Brooks came in to voice Santa Claus. That was pretty fun.
I knew about that.
Yeah, it was probably cool, Hugh, just because that was a good episode for him to transform and do something different.
Yeah, and then there's the one, the Maximum Hugh, where you get the sweatband that he makes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He was a really wacky character. He was kind of, I think, the Kramer of that show.
Yeah.
Always with crazy ideas and just a little out of step with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering about this too. Do you have a favorite episode of Handy Manny too?
Yeah.
Do I have a what?
Favorite episode of Handy Manny.
No, you know what? They hired a whole bunch of new tools.
Yeah.
Myself and some other people, and we were supposed to be like the new stars of the show, and then we didn't really work much. I only did 2 or 3 of them, and I think then the show ended. I'm not really sure.
I know
what
Greg
happened.
Lyle, I think, was like that because she was also on that.
Yeah, well, there was that Vilmer and the original core cast, Fred Stoller and those guys. They did a bunch of them, and then I think they were trying to renew it and bring in some new characters, and I was one of those new characters, and we thought it was going to be a big deal, and then it turned out to not be that big of a deal.
Yeah, it even had a Special Agent Oso crossover before you guys got in.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Special Agent Oso it's a good show too.
So I'm sure a lot of other Jimmy Neutron fans who are watching or listening to this are wondering, can you still do Hugh Neutron's voice?
Yes.
I do. Yeah, I do cameos all the time for people, and I'll randomly call. Caller ID really ruined my game because I just used to call up random people with silly voices, but now they can track it back to me, so I don't do it anymore. But yeah, I can still do it. It's he's a part of me.
Yeah, it'll be. I know you've been trying to get a reboot for a while now, but it'd be really awesome to have it.
Yeah, it would be wonderful if the show got rebooted.
Keep emailing and sending letters to Nickelodeon. I know that they're rebooting a lot of the older shows.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a huge Jimmy Neutron fan base, and I know that we'd all love to come back and do it. So and the only reason it's still even in play is because of fans such as yourself. So we appreciate it, and hopefully it will happen.
Yeah. Yes. So do you have any stuff from Jimmy Neutron that you want to show?
Oh, like swag?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me see. I got that. That's kind of like my
That's awesome.
My bag. It's got my Jimmy watch, Jimmy keychain. That's a camera. It's my backpack. These are brass passes from the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival that I go to every year. Signed cast poster right there.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
And I probably have some other stuff too, just not readily. I probably have some other stuff too. It's just not readily. I have a good a good poster of the Hugh and Judy and Jimmy with the hypno beam. That,
I remember.
Megan Debbie signed.
Yes.
Katie Milo was also part of that show, and she has done amazing voices as well.
Candy Milo. Actually, Candy Milo is one of the guests on I'm doing a new cartoon called the Boffo the Bear Show, and Candy, we interviewed her live at Comic-Con. She was hilarious.
She's done so many voices. It'd be amazing to have her on here.
Yes, and that's another thing I wanted to talk about, because I know when we had reached out, we kind of talked a little bit about it. So Boffo the Bear, what is that all about?
Boffo the Bear is a real-time motion capture cartoon.
Yeah.
And we do live shows on YouTube. We started doing it during the pandemic because I was bored out of my mind. And we were doing an hour a day, just taking phone calls and goofing off. Then we upgraded the model. And now we just 2 weeks ago launched the new Boffo show on YouTube. We live stream every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific. Nice. And we interview celebrities. We take phone calls. We give away trips to Cancun. It's really fun. This isn't going to air tonight, is it? No, this is taped.
No. So this will be coming out Monday.
Oh, okay. Last Wednesday we did a show live from the LA Comic-Con. Boffo was
wow.
on the floor of Comic-Con in December of 2021 and interviewed a bunch of really big voices: Candy Milo, Fred
Candy's
Tatasciore, Phil Lamar, a bunch of people
yes.
who were there. And he's really funny, and we're in talks with some television people. And although, you know what, I think YouTube is the place to be now.
It is.
That's where all the hardcore fans are.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's just a matter of
Totally.
it's a matter of building the YouTube channel, the Boffo the Bear YouTube channel, and getting people to know about it and to enjoy the comedy therein. So we just started that this month, and we have it's really fun to do, because unlike Jimmy Neutron, where I record something and then 9 months later it comes out, this happens instantaneously. It's feature film quality animation instantaneously. My partner is the guy who creates characters for all the big Marvel movies, all the big special effects movies, created this system that does it instantaneously. And it's really, I think it's pretty cool when someone can call in and talk to a bear.
Oh, wow. Might have one of us on in the future. You never know.
I know.
You guys, you know what? We take phone calls every week. You can call 323-9000. 911 is the number.
Matt will be calling Marty and his characters. We'll get all the puppet community together.
I might.
Yeah.
We'll get all the
That would be awesome.
We're gonna come West.
Call in, Marty. Call in. I want to hear Marty to call in. What would Marty ask Boffo?
I've called into a radio station before. A friend of mine works at a radio station. Used to work at one, now to another. Called in, I think it was sometime last year. Yeah, so he's been on the radio before. Yeah, and I might do it again.
Did you win some tickets, Marty?
No, I didn't.
I was going to say we'll get Calvin and
whatever.
Oh yeah,
that'd be funny. Trust me, Bert calls the bad. We had him on before.
Oh my god. Oh yeah. We'll definitely talk more about that later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Especially with you, Matt. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So so do you have any advice to people who want to get into acting or voice acting?
Yes. Do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's these days, it really is that simple, as Marty is proving, right?
Yeah.
When I was 20 or 15 or young and starting out, there was no YouTube, there was no TikTok, there was none of that social media stuff. So for me to act, I had to go to a comedy club, get noticed, get hired, just to do what I wanted to do. Today, you guys have all the tools available to you, literally right in front of you right now. All that you need is some imagination and some focus and the desire and the energy to get it done. You know, you could talk about it forever, but doing it. Like there's people that we've met through the Boffo show, Uncle Al and Ricky Berwick and the Rat, that just do it.
Yeah.
So if you have a friend, if you do voices, find a person who draws or does animation or does puppetry and come up with a character, come up with a series, come up with a series of ideas that people will like. And the first stuff you make will be horrible. Yeah. And you'll go back and look at it a year later and go, oh, I'm so much better now. And that's how you that's how you do it. I think in this day and age, you have no one to blame but yourself if you don't do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Would you come back on the podcast?
Well, I mean, you guys are doing it. This show is proof that you're doing what I'm saying. Yeah, right. You couldn't have done this 10 years ago, let alone 20. But you're doing it. Yeah, you do it every week, and you're building a following, and that's what it takes.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you said, because Jake had a podcast originally. It wasn't anything like this, and now here we are again. And look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. You literally, do it. You watch it, critique it. You have to be your own best critic, worst critic, really. And this works. This doesn't. Oh, I stuttered there. I don't speak clearly enough. All my voices sound the same. Just by doing it over and over again, you'll get better. Right. Yes. And you'll either eventually get discouraged and stop, or you'll start making money from it. But the people that I know that are making big money in animation right now are all on social. They're on the internet. They're not on TV.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So
would you come back? Maybe we could have you and Jeff on because Jeff's amazing. I'd love to see the two of you together.
We actually did some stand up together. Remember last spring when the pandemic kind of chilled out for a little bit before Delta and Omicron. We did a show at Flappers in Burbank, California here. And
Wow.
yeah,
Nice.
we just improvised it. He doesn't really have an act. He just gets up there and talks, and we had a really fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'd be awesome to have you and him back, you on this podcast, have him on as well, or Debbie.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think we were going to get Debbie at one point.
At some point in the
She's doing-
future.
Yeah, she's
And plus,
doing a lot
Debbie
of
was
stuff
a part
now.
of our childhood as well.
Yeah.
Like she was on Playhouse Disney as Clay.
Oh yeah.
She's done a million different roles.
She has.
She's on
Oh, yeah.
F is for Family
Yeah.
and Big Mouth. She's got a lot of stuff going on right now.
yes. So do you have any words to say to the Jimmy Neutron fans?
Or fans of your work in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah, sure. Specifically to Neutron fans, first of all, thanks for keeping
Yeah.
the show popular for so long and for advocating to bring it back. I know I speak for the cast in saying that we'd all love to do more episodes. We all really love these characters. And whenever we go to Comic-Cons, the response from people, it's like the show is still on the air right now. I guess it still is, but that there's still new shows. So we appreciate your fanhood. We appreciate that you know way more about the show than we do, than we remember. And keep hammering at Nickelodeon. I think the more emails and specifically handwritten mailed letters to their place on Olive in Burbank, that makes a difference. That's what they listen to. They understand that fans drive this business, and if the fans want something, ultimately, if they're loud enough and persistent enough, they'll get it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So speaking of popularity, like Henny Manny is kind of like a popular, like a Playhouse Disney show.
Yeah.
No, because oh my gosh, I remember watching that show.
Yeah.
Not as known as some others, but I think so.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to point this out. They can bring it back. They brought Danny Phantom back in the video game recently, so bring back Jimmy Neutron.
That's true.
I'm
They
on
did.
board. I'm on board. Get
Well,
you in that all-star brawl.
Yeah, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, I mean Nickelodeon kind of had that kind of group of the most popular shows, because there was Jimmy Neutron, there was SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, there was Rugrats, there were all these wonderful shows.
Yes. So many more, but
Yeah.
Danny Phantom.
Danny
Danny
Phantom.
Phantom. Yeah, there's a lot of them. It's at the time it was a really great place to work because there were a lot of creative minds there, both in production and in the executive world. Albie Hecht and those guys who had a really good nose for talent and a good nose for content and shows. And the proof is in the pudding. It's 15, 20 years later, and we're still talking about that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's got staying power.
It does. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
Where can people find you, by the way, on social media and all that?
Yeah, if people want to contact you.
I am Mark DeCarlo on Twitter. I am Mark DeCarlo TV on Instagram.
Mhm.
And the main show that I'm doing right now in the cartoon world is the Boffo the Bear Show. So you can find the Boffo the Bear channel on YouTube and tune in for our live streams every Wednesday night, or just go to YouTube whenever you want. You can watch all the archive video, which I think we have over 200 now.
Yeah,
Wow,
and you can
that's
also
great.
find him on his
Wow.
website.
Yep, and yes, everyone, people who's watching, his social media is going to be in the description down below, so you all can follow.
We'll even include your website.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
markdecarlo.com
Yeah,
is my regular
Yes.
website.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the last question I'm going to say is that a question that we recently added, and it's kind of like evolves of the show. What is something that's nostalgic to you?
What
what
is
is something that
nostalgic to me? Mel Blanc.
There you go. I know who that is.
Ooh.
Yes, Mel Blanc is amazing.
Yes.
Mel, in today's world, there's 10, 15 actors on every show, on every cartoon show. There was one. All the Warner Brothers characters from the 40s and the 50s, 60s, 70s, one guy, except for June Foray, who did the female voices, the witch and Rocky the Squirrel. Everything else, Mel Blanc.
Where are they?
And to this day, I still watch those cartoons and you laugh out loud. I mean, because they were funny. And back then, they didn't edit like we edit today on a computer where you can do something and if it doesn't work, you can go back. They had to physically take a razor blade and cut the film and cut the audio stripe and tape it back together with tape and then play it. That's how they edit it. So to get the perfect timing when the coyote runs off the cliff, hangs in the air, and then drops, that was some guy counting frames. 7 frames is too much. 3 frames isn't enough. We'll make it 5 frames and it'll be funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
It boggles my mind. Boggles my mind.
So
it definitely does.
So one more thing. I know, Matthew, before we wrap up, there was one line that you wanted to hear.
Oh, I just wanted to hear him say Jimbo as Hugh Neutron.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, Jimbo. How's that?
Yes.
Jim Jam, Jimmy,
Yes.
Jimbo. I forget what the rest of your name is. James Isaac Neutron. Megan gave him the middle name of Isaac Neutron.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because he started up he started up something Quasar, and then they reference it. Then you guys reference it in the series.
Yeah.
I think there was Johnny.
That's what it was.
There was another show that Hanna-Barbera did with Quasar in the title, and we couldn't use it, so they changed it to Neutron.
Yeah. Hanna-Barbera is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another house that's very nostalgic. Flintstones and Bear and Snagglepuss and all that stuff. That was those Hanna-Barbera also had Mel Blanc, but they also had other voice actors, Dawes Butler and Paul Frees,
Frank Welker,
exactly.
Yes.
Tex Avery. I mean, if you go back and you study the beginning of comedy animation, which was, I guess it started in the 40s after the war, they would make these cartoons for movies. Instead of seeing coming attractions, you'd see a 7-minute cartoon before you would see whatever the Batman, whatever the movie was in the theaters that week. So they were cartoons made for adults. They weren't made for kids,
right?
Which is why I think they're still funny to this day.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. It has been
thank you so much.
Yeah, and Cameron, when we'll get you back in the show in the future. Obviously, as you did a great job of what you've done. Jimmy Neutron, anime, so many other shows and everything.
Yeah, so many others.
Great work what you're doing. Can't wait what's going to be in the future. Also,
it did. He still does.
Yeah. Also,
I'm doing a lot of Boffo.
Also, any last words, Hugh and Lefty?
Lefty, I don't even remember what Lefty sounded like. Yeah, but I appreciate coming on the show with you guys. It's been an honor.
I know one of them mentioned about having your wife Megan Cavanaugh in the future.
My cartoon wife,
his cartoon wife.
Yeah.
I have a cartoon wife named Megan Cavanaugh. I have a real life wife named Yenny Alvarez, who's also a voice actor in English and in Spanish.
Yeah.
And so what I like to do is invite Megan over and watch them fight over me. Just literally beating the shit out of each other. It's what I like to do on a Friday night.
Megan's the one.
That is awesome.
Megan fights dirty though.
It'd be awesome to have Megan on.
Just so you know.
Imagine having the two. If we get her on, you need to come back. Have the two parents in the same room. That would be something.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I'll say why.
I'd pay to see it.
I would pay to see that too.
Yes.
We'll message her.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jakey.
Yep.
Deliver last words to our audience.
Thank you so much for all of you to watch this episode. And like I always said, every single episode, we appreciate support and can't wait. What you guys see for more of these episodes in the future? See you guys again for the next episode. For all of us, to all of you,
you're worth it.
Yep,
Yes.
you're all worth it.
Yep.
And see you on next episode. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Stay nostalgic.
Bye,
See ya.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Stay nostalgic.
See you next time on another episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Be sure to follow us on social media and stream us wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Bye bye.